What do you think is the number one mistake that all businesses make? I'm not talking about businesses in your particular industry or businesses in your city or your state or even in your country. I'm actually talking about all businesses. All businesses make the exact same mistake. And the question is, what do you think it is? You see, depending on who you ask, the answer is going to be different. It doesn't matter whether you're asking a CEO or you're asking a small business owner. Everybody's going to have a different answer based on their past experiences. So my answer is going to be very different than maybe what a multi-millionaire might say or somebody else, because what I am is I am a market and financial feasibility research expert. You could even say I am one of the top experts in the field in the whole country simply because there are not a lot of us. A market financial feasibility research is basically somebody that multi-million, billion-dollar corporations come to and they hire us to do the research for them, find out if a business idea would be profitable or a complete flop, depending on the location that they want to put it in. So our research is very specific. We basically study business models. We get paid tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars to do these research reports. I've been doing it for more than 20 years. So again, that kind of makes me a pretty good business expert. I'm basically studying all elements and all aspects of a business. And I have done it for major Fortune 500 companies, all the way down to nonprofit charities. I have studied pretty much every kind of business model that's out there. So that's where I'm coming from when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, which is the number one mistake all businesses make is that they copy their competition. It does not matter if you are a restaurant, if you are a retail business, if you're in the entertainment industry, if you're in the travel industry, or even if you're a YouTuber. All business owners and all businesses make this simple mistake. When I tell you the solution, you're going to think I'm completely crazy, which is why I have to kind of give you the setup for it. So we're going to play a game. I'm going to call it 20 questions. I'm going to ask you some questions. And by the end of the video, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. Now, the reason that I say that the number one mistake that all businesses make is copying the competition is simply because of the market area that a particular business is in. If you have a physical business location, whether that's a restaurant or a retail or convenience store, gas station, point is you have competition in your particular marketplace. And the more that the market is inundated with sameness, the more you actually harm your business. So by copying the competition and thinking, hey, I can do that, but I can do it better than they're doing it, and then you incorporate it into your business, you actually have to give something up. Not only do you give something up, you create an overabundance of sameness, which is going to demotivate your customer. Am I making any sense here? I'm going to assume that you're totally lost. So I'm going to come at this from another approach. 20 questions. Think about this. When you go to a Mexican restaurant and you sit down, what is it that the restaurant will immediately bring to you for free? I'm not talking about water. If you're like me, you're probably thinking chips and salsa. Am I right? It's free. Pretty much every sit-down Mexican restaurant brings it to you. Now, if you go to an Italian restaurant, what do they bring you for free? It's generally breadsticks. Maybe some oil, maybe some vinegar, but it's pretty much breadsticks. If you go to an Asian restaurant, the one thing that they generally give you with your meal is white rice. Make sense? It is just a bunch of sameness because that has become the norm for that particular business. And everybody copies it and everybody does it. And don't worry, at the end of the video, I will give you some ideas that'll get you out of this box of sameness that is hurting your business. The next thing we're going to look at is clothing stores. Clothing stores all make the same purchasing choices. Now, by purchasing choices, I mean this. When I was younger, I used to work at Sears selling shoes, which kind of dates me because Sears has been closed for a while. When I sold shoes, I thought it was really crazy that we would always get the wedding shoes for women in like January. And the reason I thought that was crazy is because the wedding season was June. And by the time brides came looking for the shoes in May, they were gone. They were sold out. There was nothing left. And the same thing can be said for swimsuits and for winter coats. All clothing stores buy their products for the season as early as 6 months before the season starts, which in effect is a terrible idea because by the time people actually think, I need this, and they go to buy it, the products have been picked over, they're cleaned out, they're gone. And the customer soon starts to think that this is not the place to go when they actually need something for the season. Next, let's talk about the travel industry and what I call trapped customers. I have been a market financial feasibility researcher for the last 20 years, but 7 years ago, I also added flight attendant to my resume. So I've been doing both jobs simultaneously for the last 7 years. The thing about being a flight attendant and a market financial feasibility research expert is that I go all over the country and I see all of these mistakes in person and I recognize them instantly. I've been recognizing them long before I became a flight attendant because I've always loved to travel and I've traveled around the world. And I've seen these mistakes for a long time. So when I say this next part, realize I'm also coming from the flight attendant aspect. Hotels have trapped customers. When you go and you stay at a hotel, maybe you flew in and you don't have a car, you can't get around. Or maybe you came in late and you're too tired to leave the hotel and you get there and you're hungry. What is it that all hotels have for sale after hours? If you're thinking like me, you're thinking Coke, chips, candy bars, right? All hotels do it, all of them. And I don't know why they don't consider the fact that most people don't want unhealthy snacks, especially late at night. But they all make that mistake and they all copy each other because it's something that they're able to sell. And they think because they sell it, it's a proven profit and therefore doesn't need to be changed. But it's actually an outdated trend that could be updated. The next one we're going to talk about is the entertainment industry. Let's talk about theme parks. So we've gone from freebies to purchasing choices and seasons to trapped customers. Now we're going to talk about the environments of a theme park. Generally, two types of theme parks. One is very much like Six Flags. Six Flags is roller coasters. They're built, they're set, they're practically impossible to change. They stay that way for a long time, and generally people will get tired of the roller coasters and you will start to see roller coasters die. The other type of theme park is like Disneyland. It's character driven, it's story driven. It's often a little bit easier to change. People tend to go there longer because it's more changeable, but still a lot of the rides also stay the same decade after decade. Pirates of the Caribbean is a perfect example of a ride that doesn't really change much. The Haunted Mansion, they do decorate it for Christmas, so you do get two different types of environments when you go on that particular ride. But for the most part, when they create an environment, it's not an environment that's going to be changeable, that can change with the trends. So looking at your environment, copying other environments in the same industry, that's also a common mistake a lot of businesses make. And finally, the last group I'm going to talk about is YouTubers. YouTubers who run YouTube as a business. They also make a lot of the same mistakes. And that mistake is copying other YouTubers. I've actually been watching a lot of YouTube experts to learn how they would recommend that you do a YouTube channel. And I was actually surprised to find that a lot of them will actually encourage you to copy other YouTube artists. You go and you look at who's got the views and who's got the subscribers, and then you basically copy what they're doing, although you put your own spin on it. Obviously, this seems like, yeah, it could work, but I will get into that in a minute about how that can actually be a mistake for some YouTubers as well. So we played the 20 questions. Now we're going to change it up. What I'm trying to tell you is that your market is going to dictate how successful your business is. If you have a lot of sameness within your market area, you are going to end up losing business. If you are a restaurant or you're a retail shop, you have an inventory. And there's only so much room you have for your inventory in your space. If you decide, I'm going to copy my competition across town, that means that you have to give something up within your inventory to make room for that new product. So that's problem number one. The second problem now is that you have created so much sameness that your customers aren't going to want to come to you. So let's back this up. 20 more questions. My question for you is, how far would you be willing to drive to go get a double cheeseburger from McDonald's? You just happen to see a commercial on TV and you think, that sounds good. For those of you who are vegan, think Taco Bell. Taco Bell has vegan options. How far would you be willing to drive to get a basic meal at McDonald's or Taco Bell? For me, I have 3 McDonald's within a 5-mile radius of my house because I live in the Chicagoland area. Now, the closest one I don't actually go to, simply because there's usually a homeless person in the drive-thru asking for money, and it makes me feel very unsafe and uncomfortable at that particular McDonald's. So I skip that one even though it's closest. I go to the second closest one because it's easy to get in, easy to get out. And even though it takes me a little bit longer to get over there, that's the one that I prefer to go to. Now, the third one is closer to the 5-mile edge. And I do happen to stop by that one whenever I'm on the way home, simply because then it becomes a matter of convenience. The point is, There are 3 McDonald's in my area, and there is one that gets most of my business because it's all the same. And there's nothing particularly special about a double cheeseburger. It's a basic burger. Am I right? Now, the second question in the same frame of mind. Let's say McDonald's is not your thing. How far would you drive for your favorite fast food hamburger? Most people, for the first answer, for your basic burger for McDonald's, they would go 5 miles. That tends to be the average for fast food chains, simply because of the fact that there are so many of them within a 5 mile radius. And so many of them have the same thing. Like I said, you got Burger King, In-N-Out, Wendy's, Whataburger, Steak and Shake. So many fast food places make burgers. So most people don't have to drive more than 5 miles to get a burger that they like. But if you did have one that you liked better, how far would you be willing to drive to go to that one instead of McDonald's? Generally, the answer to this question is usually up to 10 miles. Maybe more closely in the 7 mile range. It also comes down to driving time. For McDonald's, you might be willing to drive 5 to 10 minutes, but for your favorite fast food restaurant, you might be willing to drive 10 to 20 minutes to get that particular burger. Next question. How far would you drive to get your favorite burger? Not necessarily the best burger you've ever had, but just your favorite burger in town. Again, the market gets a little farther because now you're getting into some unique elements of whatever your particular burger is like. You might be willing to drive 20 or 25 minutes for your favorite burger. Now, the next question is, how far would you be willing to drive for the best burger you've ever had? And I gotta tell you, the best burger I've ever had was actually in Appleton, Wisconsin, a little place called the Home Burger Bar, and it had chipotle sauce, crab rangoon, and wonton strips on it. It was amazing. All of their burgers are very unique, and every time I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin, I go out of my way to go get their burgers. So the question becomes, how far would you be willing to go to get the best burger you've ever had? Now, again, this might actually go a little bit farther. It might be 30 minutes or even 40 minutes. And finally, the last question I'm going to ask you is, how far would you be willing to go for a burger that is recommended by somebody famous? Like maybe your favorite celebrity chef, maybe Beyonce, your favorite celebrity just period. They say this burger is the best burger I've ever had. And it's like an hour away. Would you be willing to drive an hour away to go get that burger? The point of these questions is I want you to think of yourself as a customer and how far you are willing to go for a particular product. The more that you have the sameness in your area, the smaller your market becomes. If you copy your competition that's in the same town, what ends up happening is that your market shrinks. Okay, so let's talk about the solution to copying the competition right now. The solution to copying the competition is actually copy the competition outside of your market area. Not in your market area, but outside of your market area. As a flight attendant, that's one of the benefits that I get. I travel all across the country, and I know for a fact that food changes from region to region. Mexican food, I did not think you could mess up a taco until I became a flight attendant. Tacos are one of my favorite foods. I'm from Southern California. We tend to have street tacos in California. We have a meat, cilantro, onions, and salsa. And that is probably one of the most common tacos in Southern California. And it's my favorite. And I traveled across the country and I see that they will put stuff like queso on it. I have been to places where they gave me barbecue sauce instead of salsa. Literally, I've been all over the country and I've tried tacos, probably every state. I have seen all of the different ways that tacos can be made. But when you are from one particular area, when you're in one particular market, tacos might just only come like street tacos. And that's the point. As you expand outside of your market area, as you go to other places, you should be checking out your competition in those places and seeing what they do that's different that you can bring back to your town. The more you do this, the more you update your business with ideas from competition outside of your market area, the more you will stay ahead of the competition in your market area. What that will do is it will set in the minds of your customers that this is a place that is constantly staying above the trends. You are introducing new stuff into your market and they will love you for it and they will come to you more often for it. So the answer again is, in order to not make the mistake of copying the competition, you need to copy the competition outside of your market area, because copying the competition within your market area is going to shrink your customer base. It's going to shrink your market, and you will actually end up hurting not only your business, but competition's business as well, because you will just be taking the same customers from each other. Let's go back to some of our examples. For Mexican restaurants, maybe instead of giving chips and salsa, you could do something like those little Taco Bell churros that they used to have that were triangles and covered in sugar and cinnamon. Something like that would be a unique difference. Red Lobster creates those Cheddar Bay biscuits that they give for free. And that is a unique element that I have not seen any other business anywhere in the country. It is their unique biscuit. Asian food. I love purple rice. Have you ever tried purple rice? It seems to be a Korean thing. I've only ever seen one restaurant that had purple rice, and it was amazing. As far as clothing stores, there is a website called Stitch Fix, and they are actually kind of changing the way that I think clothing is going to be purchased. What they're doing is like a monthly subscription where they will actually put together clothes and a person's size and ship it out to them. And the person can try on the clothes and then send back whatever they don't like. This is a fantastic solution for not having too much of an inventory. And I think it's really going to change the way that people shop. Having a type of stylist that can help you sell your clothes. If you could get a subscription like that with your particular clientele, I think you could probably take your clothing business to the next level. As far as travel hotels and snacks, it's probably my favorite out of all the hotels would be the Element. They actually have healthy snacks. They have healthy frozen dinners, that healthy drinks. It's fantastic to have those options when you come in late at night instead of having to buy chips and candy, which they also do have chips and sodas. They have a larger selection of healthy foods. Most hotels don't, which is why pretty much everybody that I know that's ever been to the hotel, we all love it. Next, for entertainment, for theme parks, they are starting to create 4D experiences. And it's basically like a ride, a movie all together that can be changed. This is actually a very creative, very unique idea that is going to allow them to stay ahead of the trends. Having an environment that's changeable, having an environment you can easily update is another great way to get ahead of the competition in the environment field. And finally, for YouTubers, you create a market with a YouTube channel, with the keywords you use, with the titles you use, with the type of content you're creating. You're going into a vortex of YouTubers that are doing that particular same niche. And the vortex are the people that you're being inspired by, who are giving you ideas to try, and maybe like you don't want to copy it exactly. You just think you could do it this way and it'd be better, or you just like the idea. Best thing you can do to create content is to actually start watching videos that are outside of the vortex. How to get past this problem of copying the competition. And let's talk about markets real quick. Retail stores, restaurants, places with physical locations, they have a smaller market. They have anywhere from 5 to 10 miles. Whereas a theme park would likely have a 50-mile market. People are more willing to drive an hour and a half to go to Disneyland. As far as the travel industry, that attracts demographic, and they're basically limited to the people inside the hotel. Now, YouTubers, you're probably thinking YouTubers have an infinite market. And my answer to that is, do they? Do they really? No, they don't. If you think YouTubers have an infinite market, then you are not completely familiar with the YouTube structure of how they market videos. The YouTube market can grow and grow and grow, but I call it the YouTube vortex for a reason, because once you get into YouTube and you start watching a video, their algorithm that everybody talks about will basically suggest videos that are similar but not exactly the same. In order to suggest videos that are similar but not the same, they have to rely on titles and keywords. The YouTubers actually will put in information in their descriptions, in their titles, and in their dashboard to tell YouTube what the video is about. The thing is, since all of the YouTubers are copying each other for different things, they're making basically the same title, they're using the same tags, they're doing the same kind of content. What ends up happening is it creates a market for that particular area, and YouTube will push the customers into this vortex. So there is a particular market for YouTube and whatever that YouTuber's niche is. The point is, you need to look outside of your niche. You need to look outside of your market. You need to look at how you can adapt and change things, because the more that you can adapt and change, the more that you can introduce from the outside world into your market, the more you're going to attract customers to you. Having said that, I know this is where usually I would say subscribe if you want more information like this, but here is what you need to know. If you have questions for me, put them in the comments, because I will try to answer them within 24 hours of any video going live. If you put a question or a comment after the 24-hour mark, I will probably answer it in an upcoming video versus answering it in the comments. If you want to be able to ask me questions and have me answer your questions within 24 hours, make sure you not only subscribe, but you hit the notification bell. That way, when I have a video go live, you will know within that first 24 hours and you'll be able to ask me questions. Again, if you have questions, put them in the comments. If you like the video, make sure you hit like. That way you'll see more content similar to mine, more business information coming at you. And subscribe if you want to see more of my stuff. See you in the next video.